This week, it's time for some ice, snow, and a demigod or two as Angelo heads off into the wilderness with new PlayStation 4 parenting simulator, God of War. We point out 5 reasons why you'll love Monster Hunter World, even if you've never played a game in the series before, and Nate and the 2-hour team spend about 120 minutes with turn-based strategy Pit People to see if it's worth your money. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week Valve has been smacked down by the Australian consumer watchdog. Late last year, the federal court found that Valve had breached Australian consumer law and needed to pay a $3 million penalty over matters relating to refunds and digital purchases. Valve, predictably, sought special leave to appeal the decision, but this week the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission has dismissed the application and upheld that even though the company is based in Seattle in the US, Valve is still bound by Australian consumer law when dealing with Aussie customers. The news comes nearly 4 years after the ACCC commenced legal action against the publisher and 2 years after the federal court found that Valve had engaged in misleading or deceptive conduct and had made false or misleading representations. Valve appealed the initial 2016 finding but was shot down, and the same things just happened again, but this time the ruling is final. But speaking of a completely different part of Valve, the publisher has just acquired Campo Santo, the 12-person studio that brought you the award-winning experience Firewatch. The team are quick to point out that all of them will maintain their jobs as video game developers working on their current project in the Valley of Gods. Gaming fans around the world have been polarised by this news. On one hand, it could signal Valve's return to single-player story-driven content, something that has been sorely missing in the publisher's recent repertoire. On the other are the skeptics. What does this really mean for Campo Santo and in the Valley of Gods? Will it still have that unique charm that made Firewatch so wonderful, or will the studio just be another cog in a much bigger machine? Now, remember how we mentioned a little while ago that every single game on the market will soon have a Battle Royale mode? You all thought we were kidding, right? Well, there are 2 rumours doing the rounds this week that suggest we might have been closer to the truth than we thought. Firstly, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 will reportedly be multiplayer only, doing away with any kind of single-player campaign and seriously breaking with tradition. Of course, that means that multiplayer will have to be beefed up with, what else? A Battle Royale mode. More information on Black Ops 4 is due out on May 17, when hopefully we'll find out if Treyarch will combine everything and make some sort of a last zombie standing mashup. But if you're thinking, that's alright, at least there's one AAA first-person shooter due out this year that won't include some kind of shrinking map survival mode, think again. Word on the street suggests that the next Battlefield will also feature Battle Royale, hopefully not at the expense of single player. On the other hand, if you are of the opinion that there simply aren't enough Battle Royale games on the market, here's a new one for you. Darwin Project is now free to play. All you need to do is download it and jump right in. Creative director Simon Darvo explains that the decision is actually part of making the game more accessible to fans by bringing in new players, upping the level of activity and reducing long queue times. We're aware that it's a big change, he says, but he wants to reiterate that the developers are remaining true to the Darwin Project vision as the game moves forward. Of course, if you have already paid money for the game, you will be rewarded with a Founders Pack containing legendary weapons, clothes and fan gifts, and they should be in your inventory already. And from one controversial gaming topic to another, the Dutch Gaming Authority has officially ruled that a number of popular games violate Dutch gambling rules thanks to the inclusion of loot boxes. The problem is that in at least 4 of the most popular games on the market, loot box contents can be sold for real-world money on third-party sites. Because they can be traded, they are granted an economic value, meaning that players can earn money for winning a rare item, and this is what violates the rules of chance. In the 6 other games under the spotlight, there is no real-world trading, which makes them okay for the Dutch. No specific games are being highlighted just yet, but the government has given the developers just 8 weeks to fix the problem. If the studios don't move fast, not only will their games be named and shamed, but the regulator can impose fines or even block sales of the games. But remember, it's not just the Netherlands that is highlighting this problem. Other European countries are conducting their own investigations into loot boxes and online gambling, including Scandinavia, Germany, and even Great Britain. Looks like the end of the loot box era might finally be in sight. And to finish off this week, a new exploit has been discovered on the Nintendo Switch that is making the homebrew scene very happy indeed. The exploit, known as Fusée Gelée, or Frozen Rocket, is a cold boot vulnerability that actually affects the entire line of NVIDIA Tegra embedded processors. Long story short, the team at Reswish has discovered a flaw in the hardware that enables a user to execute code on the chip's boot and power management processor before a read-only fuse kicks in. So, people who are that way inclined should be able to get all sorts of things running on Nintendo's hardware, complete with its portable touchscreen. As you may know, the homebrew history is peppered with bits and pieces like this, most of which are pretty quickly stomped out with firmware updates and patches from the manufacturer. Fusée Gelée, on the other hand, well, no solution is proposed. Believe it or not, the official stance is that consumers should be made aware of the situation so they can move to other devices where possible. Now, while it may take a little bit of hacking to discover a vulnerability like this, the team who discovered Fusée Gelée aren't sneaking around behind Nintendo's back. Before the exploit was revealed to the public, Nintendo, NVIDIA, and other affected vendors were all told about the issue, but there's really nothing anyone can do to fix it. In fact, the whole thing could have remained a secret had another hacking group, Team Executor, not also discovered the exploit. But while Kate Temkin and the team at Reswitched are using their powers for good, Team Executor were on the other side of the fence, planning to take the exploit and use it for profit, selling a mod to enable homebrew software. Announcing that they found Team Executor to be without morals or scruples, Kate and the team instead revealed Fusée Gelée in all its glory, hitting their rivals in the hip pocket and making it so that anyone can take advantage of homebrew software as long as they have a Nintendo Switch, a micro SD card, a USB A to C cable, and a screwdriver. For more information on any of these stories or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.